What's going on there, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, holy crap, I can't believe my eyes. But Treyarch actually cooked here when it came to the multiplayer content we're going to be getting within Season 1. They went ahead and released a roadmap showcasing absolutely everything that we're going to be getting, with some things still hidden, which kind of blows my mind. But I got to be real with you guys. Although there's a lot of people who don't enjoy Call of Duty right now and don't trust Activision whatsoever, I still like to cover the good and the bad of a lot of these things. And competition in the scene has definitely been making a lot of things better. Like, seriously, I'm going to say it again, and I said it 1,000 times before. Without Battlefield, Call of Duty would not be where it's at right now. And without Call of Duty, Battlefield would not be where it's at right now. I'm really hoping that competition stays strong as we move forward throughout these years, but for the time being, it's definitely doing a lot of FPS fans justice. But, ladies and gentlemen, of course, before we go and dive on deep, if you guys are interested in more content like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. It posts twice here, once at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, and a second time at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And also, if you guys are interested in any of my live streams, I do stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, if you guys are interested, go link that channel down in the description of this video. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, before we go ahead and dive on deep, I do want to showcase to you guys a little something that I saw over on Twitter. Treyarch actually went ahead and readjusted Toshin, I believe is how you pronounce the name of this map. Correct me if I'm wrong, I probably completely butchered it. But basically in the very middle, if you guys remember, there is a train that just kind of, gives you a little cover as you try to progress through the middle of the map. But there's also an outskirts section that can't really be accessed unless you go to your spawn and then go to the outskirts. You can't really get any, access points from the middle of the map itself. They went ahead and opened up the train, and I'll be real, when I was eyeballing the train, I was thinking to myself, why the heck can't we get through here? I was generally thinking to myself, well, why is this a closed off point? And lo and behold, they actually opened it up and made it another pathway. So I am very happy to see this. And again, just another thing to showcase to you guys how much Treyarch is listening right now. We have never, and I'm being serious, we have never seen this type of communication from a development team within Call of Duty. Not even Sledgehammer levels with Modern Warfare 3 2023, and you guys know me. I praise the heck out of that game. I praise the heck out of Sledgehammer. Treyarch is going above and beyond even that. And as I stated, I don't think we will be here unless it was for Activision being a little nervous and giving these developers freedom to actually work with us instead of saying, okay, screw what everybody else is thinking, do what we say you have to do, and move on to the next title. And we'll just recycle the game year after year after year. I'm telling you, man, competition is such a beautiful thing. But with this being showcased, let's actually hop into the real details of today's video, and that is the content that we're getting within Season 1. I gotta be real with you guys. It's looking very good, and you have to keep in mind, a lot of this content isn't going to be for face-off. Finally, thank the heavens, all the content I'm going to be showcasing to you guys are not face-off maps. They are all actual official 6v6 maps. You guys remember, I was complaining about the whole year with Black Ops 6, that every single season that dropped, basically the maps were cut in half, because, over half of them, you couldn't even go for streaks, and you couldn't even play your normal match of Call of Duty. You had to go to face-off to play it, and it was just pointless, stupid, not a good idea. And moving forward with Black Ops 7, it's good to see that they're changing that mentality and they're actually giving 6v6, the real 6v6, more love. And, this is how it should be moving forward. But ladies and gentlemen, as you guys can see right here, this is looking very juicy. I understand. Some people are done with COD. Some people are feeling horrible with Activision, and I don't blame you guys whatsoever. But I try my best to be pretty fair with all these titles across the board, like Modern Warfare 3 2023, for example. I spent all year long, giving credit to Sledgehammer, while everybody just kept coming at my neck, bashing me, saying, oh, the game has skill-based matchmaking, it's horrifying, you're a moron for enjoying this. You're a moron for supporting Sledgehammer. And then a year plus down the road, everybody claims it's one of the best Call of Duty games in the recent years. So it just is what it is. I'll take the insults. I typically always do. But I try to keep it fair when it comes down to what these developers are doing, whether, I like what's going on behind the scenes or not. And with the removal, well, not the removal, but, bringing it back to what OG skill-based matchmaking used to be like, it's not looking too shabby, guys. This is a lot of freaking content. On top of the 16 maps that we're going to be getting at launch for multiplayer, we are going to be getting literally 7 additional maps at the beginning of Season 1. Now, of course, I will say this. I got to be honest, and as I stated, I try to cover both sides. I am so sick and tired of them bringing back the same maps. I really am. Standoff, Nuketown. Even with the base version of the game, we're getting Express and Hijacked and Raid. Yeah, they might have a little, reskin to fit the, I think they said Tokyo vibe or whatever they're trying to hit. I don't care. It's still the same map with the same layout, the same format. I'm just sick of it. I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel. Maybe you feel differently. But there's so many banging BO2 maps, banging BO1 maps, banging World at War maps that all get completely ignored just to go ahead and, give us the same old every single time around. So I am a little disappointed with seeing Nuketown and Standoff being 2 of, the 7 maps that we're going to be getting at Season 1. But Meltdown, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This might sound very shillish, but holy crap, I'm very excited to see how Meltdown looks when it comes down to seeing it with the graphics of Black Ops 7. I haven't seen a shakeup of maps in ages. As I just stated, we see the same crap all the time. And when they said Meltdown, I was like, hold on a minute. A different map, a goated map from the past that nobody ever talks about, especially a map that has a little size to it, because seriously, that's why I always think they bring back Hijacked and Standoff, Nuketown, because, let's be real, the COD community, if anything is like slightly above medium, they all have a mental breakdown about the size of the map, and they start, they can't handle it. They literally can't handle it. And Meltdown is one of those maps from BO2 that were actually pretty dang big, and actually required a little map knowledge, and actually required you to know how to flank, and not just sit in one spot and look at one location and beam a bunch of people out of their spawn. And bringing this back made me so happy, because this is what I'm talking about. There's so many good maps that are medium plus going into large from BO2, and as I stated, BO1, World at War, that just all get brushed under the rug because, again, the community is just so freaking picky. And I'm so happy that they're bringing this back, but I have a bad gut feeling, that people are going to complain about this one. Because, once again, just like with Modern Warfare 3 2023, and, for some reason, everybody praises Modern Warfare 2 2009. But, when you bring back the maps current date, everybody says they're too big and they're too slow. And they blame the movement of Modern Warfare 3 for them being too big and too slow. And that just blows my mind, because, what? The movement was slower in Modern Warfare 2 2009. You didn't even have unlimited sprint unless you went ahead and got yourself some Marathon Pro and then, slapping on lightweight. How is the movement? I don't know. It just doesn't seem logical. But the point being made here is that people, they talk the talk about these classic Call of Duty games. But in reality, what we got with BO6 is because of how much the community has been complaining about these medium to large maps. That's why every single map that shipped with BO6 was stupidly small, because every single time they presented a map that wasn't small in any season, they got crapped on. You can look back to any of my videos. I say it all the time, and typically I'm pretty happy with the seasoned maps. And look through the comments section, and you'll constantly see people saying, oh, they're too big, too slow, boring. It's just the way, but to see that Meltdown is coming on in puts a smile on my face, and I hope that not every single map is going to be so condensed, because a lot of the maps were condensed in BO7. Not as bad as BO6, so I'll give them that, but they're still pretty small. So, with all this content that's coming into the game, I'm hoping that we can at least have a handful of maps that are borderline medium and maybe large, please. I don't know why large maps are so hated upon in Call of Duty when a lot of them are really fun, but I don't know. I guess only time will tell. And ladies and gentlemen, the craziest part about this whole roadmap is the fact that the maps say, and more. Meaning that it's not only just 7. They're talking about more maps coming throughout the whole, portion of Season 1, which makes me think, does this mean we're getting all of these 7 basically at the start of Season 1, and then we're getting more mid-season, or are we only getting some of these maps in the beginning, and then some of them mid-season, along with more that they haven't showcased to us? I don't know, but regardless, this is probably one of the biggest content drops we have seen in a Call of Duty game in a long time. Now, I do want to say this because it's the truth. The reason that we're getting this amount of content is the fact that Modern Warfare 4 is dropping next year. And for those who don't know, Infinity Ward is the main team who goes ahead and works on the engine of the overall game. So we're going to be getting, in their words, a major engine upgrade. We have no clue if it's going to be major or not, but in their words, that's what it is when Modern Warfare 4 comes on out. And the majority of all the content that they have, backed up right now for all of these games is useless. It cannot be used when they upgrade the engine for Modern Warfare 4. So basically, everything between BO6, seasonal content, BO7 stuff they have planned, maybe even Modern Warfare, we have no clue where a lot of these maps are coming from. They could totally take layouts and just reskin them, you know what I'm saying? But all of the content they had stored is being shoved into BO7 because there's absolutely no point in keeping it, because if they keep anything, it's getting thrown in the trash. So they're recycling everything at this point. And I'm not mad about that. Shoot, give it all. The more the merrier. But I want people to understand that that is one of the biggest reasons why we're seeing so much content here within Season 1. And probably, we're going to see a lot of content going throughout the whole lifespan of Black Ops 7 is because all of it will become basically irrelevant if they don't just throw it out now. But with that being said, still, I like this amount of content. I can't lie, I can't deny. As long as they stay true to their words, and this is all actual 6v6 stuff where you can get streaks and play normally in Call of Duty. I mean, I gotta be real, Call of Duty is kind of cooking right now. Treyarch is putting in some work. What a time to be an FPS gamer. See, there's so much stuff coming out. Between Battlefield 6 finally getting their crap together, it seems like Call of Duty might be, but we have no clue what the future holds. Infinity Ward can say, yep, you know what, honestly, we saw what the numbers looked like in BO7. We like skill-based matchmaking. We're adding it back. And if they do, then there's no point in even bothering picking up Modern Warfare 4. But for BO7 right now, with reduced matchmaking, non-disbanding lobbies, and a ton of content to grind throughout, Call of Duty is kind of getting their stuff together as well. We have Arc Raiders dropping on the 30th of this month. I mean, seriously, it's a lot of stuff. Splitgate 2 is going to be relaunching, I think, at the beginning of next year. Guys, let me tell you something. I know people have their beefs, but, this is reminding me of back in the day when Battlefield 2042, Halo Infinite, and Vanguard came out. And it was such a sad time because I was excited for that time. I was so pumped. I'm like, oh my God, there's a lot of games to play. There's a lot of stuff to enjoy. And lo and behold, each and every one turned out to be buns. And it was awful. It was absolutely awful. And here we are now. And it's like the same exact thing, minus having a Halo. Although, if you guys didn't hear, we are getting some more Halo stuff, and it's coming over to PlayStation as well, so that's pretty dang cool. But I don't know, I'm going to hold off until we get a brand new, real official Halo launch until I really dive back into the franchise. But, here we are, and we have the same scenario, but the games are actually kind of cooking. They're not all trash. They're pretty dang decent. I'm telling you right now, if you enjoy FPS games, the end of this year is going to be, it's going to be a banger for you. You're going to have a lot of stuff to go ahead and play. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much all I have for you guys. Please go down in the comments section and let me know what you guys think about all this content. I do apologize, I didn't really discuss zombies. I don't play zombies. I'm a multiplayer type of guy. You guys know there's a lot of other channels out there who really enjoy zombies, and I'm sure their opinions will matter a lot more than mine. So, by all means, check them out. But when it comes down to multiplayer content, not looking bad, Treyarch. My main concern is with all this content, all these maps, I'm a little concerned that maybe a lot of the maps are going to have too similar of a format. They might not be as creative because, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see when we actually get hands-on. But overall, it's not looking too shabby when it comes down to 6v6 this time around. But, ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. I post twice here, once at 8 a.m. and a second time at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And also, if you guys are interested in any of my live streams, I do stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, if you guys are interested, got to link that channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.